into the chat soon. We have a speed assignment to do, and it's going to be very difficult if people aren't here to hear the instructions. So we've got Dove Soap. Gloria's here. All right, we're just going to do it. Just going to do it. After I drink some water. So anyone who doesn't come in to hear the instructions on time will miss the instructions. Which means you'll have to watch the VOD later and do your best. Okay, so let's chat. Let's do a little chatting with you. Photoshop chat. All right, we got everyone here. Okay, so oh no. Okay. Hopefully I can fix this. Okay. That's the problem if you unplug your Wacom tablet like I do. Set with me. Calibrate already. Okay, so we're calibrating on the wrong side. Try switching monitors. So give me the right screen. There we go. There we can calibrate. Calibration in process. Boom, bitty boom. All right. Photoshop is working. All right, so today we're gonna do tileable textures, and then you're gonna paint your own. So we're doing hand painted textures, and just taking a gander over at the buildings that you guys plan on modeling over the next few days. A lot of them are pretty cartoony. So you didn't choose necessarily real world faces, which means finding the textures off of cgtextures.com won't be as easy. I'm not saying it's impossible, and then you'll have to adjust them to make them more saturated or hand paint them yourself. So that's what we're going to go over today. We're just to start us out, I'm going to just talk a little bit about what hand painted textures are. So if you looked at the building stuff we did last week, I went online to find textures, right? So I found these textures, and like one of them was the rocks. So we had those bricks. So if you think about the tileable textures versus the UV unwrapped ones we were looking at before. So the UV unwrapped ones, they were in that 0 to 1 space, which was right here on the texture editor. And you had to stay within this space. And they were kind of like, you'd have the head, the body, the arms, the feet. They all stayed within this space, and they were very unique. So if they were to repeat, you would get something. I'm trying to illustrate this properly. If they were to repeat throughout the world, right? Throughout the space, this is how they would repeat. You'd have just that same texture over and over and over again. So the idea with a tileable texture is that these would seamlessly repeat, so that the textures could repeat infinitely like a wallpaper, and they would match up side by side, right? So the idea with the tileable texture, I'm gonna write this down. Not complete request because no layers. So, so this would be a tile. This would be unique. The only difference between the two is that these ones can, every side matches the other. So this side right here lines up perfectly to this side. The bottom lines perfectly with the top, and so forth and so on. So if you had a brick here that came off, it would line up right there. Brick pattern, but this bottom brick would line up right here. This one would line up right here. This is going to be a really, I doubt this will line up, but let's actually find it. So we just drew this one. So the idea is, if I took this tileable texture and they just kept repeating, there, they would go like that. Now, obviously these ones don't line up, but you would see that if they went side by side, they would continue to just make a brick texture far and as long as you want. So you can have one 512 by 512, or even a 256 by 256, or a 128 by 128. You could have really small texture maps that will look high resolution because they repeat and repeat and repeat. So today we're gonna create a 512 by 512 texture map. So what I want you guys to do, and feel free to open this up now in Photoshop or take notes. Didn't want to. So because I switched monitors, it's doing. So here is my new texture. So the width and height are going to be 512 by 512. Resolution doesn't really matter because it's going to be 512 by 512 pixels no matter what to create. So here's our 512 by 512 texture. And just so I have something I can add, create a notepad. You guys, so create 512 by 512 canvas, and that's how we're going to start it. Now the big thing on this, and the thing I want to teach you, is how to make them overlap and repeat. So the simple way I always start this, so I'm going to do a brick texture map, but I'm going to start out, even before I do that, I'm going to start out with some circles. Circle drawings are always fun. I always start with those. I'm going to start drawing some circles in this texture map, and I'm going to be very careful not to go to the edge. So when you're drawing these, and when you start out, don't go to the edge, and I'll show you why in just a second. I'm just going to kind of evenly space these. So now what I want to do is shift my texture over so I can see where the edges go. So to do that, I'm going to do this on the notepad just so you have some steps here to go by so you don't forget. So start drawing in center of image, avoid edges. Okay? That's what we've done so far. Okay, so now we're gonna shift this over. So we're gonna go to filter, other, offset. You see it'll pop up some offset choices here. And we were gonna change this to make things easy. We're gonna make it move over 256 pixels. 256 pixels, that's half of our canvas size of 512. So it's gonna slide over 256, and we want it to slide up 256. So that'll basically put the current edges on the center X of our entire map. So I'll show you exactly what that'll look like. We'll type 256 by 256 and you can see the canvas below it moving. And then we'll hit OK. So what it did is it just slid it over and slid it up. So now our edges are different. And you can see now we have circles that are touching the edges. Those circles were in the middle before. So now, just to do this, because this is going to be our simple cobblestone texture, I'm going to start drawing in the middle again. But I should probably take notes. Okay, so select, filter, offset. Wait, it's filter other. And then input 256 horizontal, 256 vertical. Then click OK. So that's what we just did. And you're going to be repeating that. And then we're going to draw more in center of image. That is it. Those are the 4 steps. Repeat the process until texture is painted. Those are the 5 steps for creating a tileable texture map. Okay, so let's go back to it. Go back to our drawing here. So we're going to finish drawing some of these circles. Boom. Draw some in between. Then I am going to go to filter, other, offset. We're just going to click that again. And because we already selected it, it's just going to have those same 256 offsets. And it's just going to repeat. So like I said, then I'm going to repeat it again. Filter, other, offset. Okay. And you can see the repeated one. So this is going to be like our cobblestone texture. One of the things I want to do now, I'm going to go into layers. I want to create, I'm just painting this on one piece, but I want the whole thing to be kind of grayed out. So I'm going to put one flat texture over the whole thing and do a gray color. And I probably should have done this from the beginning, because just painting lights and darks on black on white is very difficult. So I'm going to do a new layer. Okay, and then I'm going to choose in my color picker like a medium gray right here. Go to edit, fill, foreground color. So we have that gray color. I can't see anything now, so I'm just going to change it from normal to multiply. Boom, I can see the drawings underneath. Control E will flatten the image back down. Now I'm going to turn these into a cobblestone texture. And basically with my brush now, I can paint on anything in the center. I still want to avoid the edges. If you want to goof around and see what happens when you're pointing the edges, you'll see. But I'm just gonna pretend my light source is coming from like I'm just gonna say my light source is coming from like up here. So I'm just gonna do this really quick, and then you guys are gonna create amazing tileable textures. We're gonna look at some online before you get started. These are hand painted, so on the top of each of these, this is where the light is hitting all of these cobblestone pieces. Buff this in really quick. So we're just starting to give these little cobblestone guys some depth. This is going to be the light was all coming from that side. Boom. I'm going to go to filter, offset again, move it over. You can see that I've got more stuff to draw and paint in the middle. Doing really fast here. You can see they're all kind of starting to look like cobblestone. At least it's the beginning of it. A filter, offset, boom. I missed one over here. That's pretty good. So now that those are all kind of highlighted on one end, I'm going to darken them on the other end. This end would be even darker. what we're gonna do is after this one's done, you guys are gonna start working on your own. But even before I do that, we're gonna look at some online to see what other compatible textures look like, because this one's obviously hot garbage because I'm doing it in 5 minutes just to show you the technique. So just to go fast. And then maybe I'll even just darken in the ground below them, dribbling it all in. Boo -boo. Imagine these are all rocks. That's dark dirt underneath it. This is how, essentially, if you've ever played like World of Warcraft, those types of games, they use hand-painted textures only. And this is basically what some of you showed me some images from the Horizon New Leaf, the Animal Crossing game. This is how those textures were. So they look nice and cartoony and and then for the Switch, they have normal maps applied. I kind of doubt it. They're very subtle. And painted with some circular. It's more because good enough. Okay, so this is our cobblestone, right? Very, very simple, rapidly done. I'm gonna save it out. And just to keep it easy, we'll just save it as a JPEG. Right here. So we'll just call this cobblestone test. Okay. So now this is done. I saved it out as a JPEG. So what I want to do now is I want to open this up in Maya. Alan K said, could you use your opacity as well to make it a little lighter? Absolutely. I could jump around it. Oh, Professional Ashley gave me a raid. Thanks for the raid. Okay, so no, this is just done super fast. I'm going to do a nicer one after this, but I'm just teaching how to do the process. So anyone just jumping in, I added some steps here. 1, create a 5x12 by 512 texture map on your canvas in Photoshop. 2, start in the center and start drawing. Stay away from the edges. 3, select filter. I misspelled that. Filter, other, offset, and input 256 for horizontal and 256 for vertical, and then click OK. And then draw more in the center, stay away from the outsides, and then repeat the process over and over again until you did hear me say JPEG. You're right. Loaf sneeze, and there's a reason for that. Just to make you mad. Okay, so let's open up Maya real quick. I know I faltered in my ways. Targets are great, PNGs are great. JPEGs typically aren't used in games. It's usually targets. But in this case, the Loaf Sneeze, I'll tell you the reason why, is because they're able to put their images on canvas so I can grade them. If they do it as a targa, the school's software won't read it and I have to open up each file. But if they submit it as a JPEG, then I can just look at it and grade it. So it's a little bit selfish on my part, but it really helps things out. Okay, so we're just waiting for Maya to rear its ugly head. Where is Maya? Oh my, really? Is it underneath Photoshop? No. Oh, we have one of these situations. Oh, there you are, buddy. Aha, Maya, my buddy. It does handle PNGs, but JPEGs are more known. Okay, so I think it does handle PNGs. Okay, so just to show how beautiful my cobblestone texture is, that I created in 5 minutes. I want to show you how that works in Maya. So imagine this plane is a ground plane that we want over our town or whatever. And we want this to be covered with cobblestone. Alan KR says nice background. Was it Spider-Man? Then we go to Windows. We've all done this. Rendering editor Hypershade. Gonna pop that open. Create a new Lambert. Because file, image. Open up our cobblestone texture that we created. I'm looking at my little Cintiq. Great for Photoshop. Cobblestone test. Are you guys ready for this? Okay, so there it is in all its glory. So we're gonna drag and drop this down onto our plane here. If we click 6, we can see what it looks like. So that is the entire 512 by 512. But this is a huge space, and we want it to spread over the whole thing. Palmarin at EAE, how are you doing, my friend? Okay, so let's see how this little, hey, Palmarin, keep in mind, this is a speed project we're starting in class. I didn't think I would have this big of an audience today. But welcome one, welcome all. We're gonna go to our UV editor now. And you can see our 512 by 512 is right there in our 0 to 1 space, just like our unique textures. But now we want to spread this out. So I'm going to grab my UVs, and just like we went over with the cobblestone or the cottage picture last week, I can now scale this out. And those amazing cobblestone textures I made in Photoshop are now spread out as far as the eye can see. Let's see if we can see any seams. You can see the usefulness is that they sprout out everywhere. Okay, so now your assignment, my students, and everyone else who would like to follow along, you're more than welcome to. Especially Palmarin at EAE. I would love it if you would break out your Wacom tablet and follow along. Engineers can always learn some art. Am I right or am I? So you're going to follow the steps that I went over, class, and you're going to create a tileable texture. And we're going to do that for the next 40 minutes. And at 2:15 your time, 11:15 my time, we will submit those. Ready, set, go. And while you guys are painting, and I'm going to get started in just a moment, Palmarin EAE, I would like to welcome you to Ryan Du. Now, the cool thing about Ryan Du is he just changed his name on Twitch. He is no longer... So, Jen Sean, don't worry about Maya. You're just going to use Photoshop. For this one, this is all just Photoshop. So you're going to make this 512 by 512. You are all going to submit those, and then I will open them up in Maya, and we'll see how they look. So, but I am happy. So I'm going to take my little notes that I made here, and I will post those in Discord so you can take. These are the steps in Photoshop.
Thanks for listening to Spotify. No, really. You could have listened to the radio. You could have spun some vinyl. You could have played a cassette tape. You could have listened to an 8-track tape. If you knew what an 8-track tape looked like. But you listen to Spotify.
There's no pattern you have to follow. Oh, let's look at this. Okay, before you get started, there's no pattern you have to follow. There's no rule there. However, let's look at some tileable textures. So if you want to get some inspiration, you're welcome to use any of these, but let's go into Google and type in hand-painted tiled texture. And we'll see what kind of magic pops up. Images, look at this. Boom. These are all hand-painted. So here you can see a beautiful roof tile. Here's a stone tile. More hand-painted textures of roof. Here's some brick. So feel free to look at one of these while you paint. If you click on any of those, they'll show you different versions of it, different styles and types. It's pretty cool. This one's nice. I like that one. I was thinking about doing a basic brick. I think that's what I'll do. This one's nice. This one's awesome. Okay, there's a lot. Oh, you can't see the screen. Holy smokes. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. I'm talking to myself. So if you just Google, I just Googled hand-painted tile texture. And I was saying these are all really nice if you look at some of these. This brick one, I was thinking about doing like a standard brick. There's another roof tile. Simple brick here. Really up to you. Cobblestone. Here's a different variation. Here's a brick. Here's some grass. Some other ones. Okay, so I think we're going to go till about 20 after the hour. We're just going to have fun with these. Process is up on the Discord. All right, my groovy friends. I am going to grab a drink really quick. I'll be back and I will be painting alongside you. Texture Tuesdays. Alan K, you have a good night. You're still around. It's time to do some tiling textures. Some of you have asked if you need to be doing a stone. You can do stone, you can do brick. If it makes it easy to do cobblestone like this, it's always good to look at reference. I'm thinking about doing worms. So this one right here, some red worms. I think that's what I might do. Here we go. Something like that. Some earthworms. That sounds fun. Is that what color I just filled? Filled it with exact color. Right. Let's draw some worms. So I've been doing a lot of like I'm eating some red vines. Good viewing. If I were to draw some worms, they kind of come out of the ground. And they're really a series of thoughts, bro. How you doing? We're drawing worms. Not worms. Game texture worms. Okay. I'm just gonna keep drawing them in the middle. So I know I told you guys to do like 256 by 256 offset. I'm gonna tell you one of the things I like to do actually, like 128 by 128, because then it just slides over a quarter and not a full Monty. I'm doing great, man. I'm fun. Got some awesome students in here drawing with me, making some video game art. Not. I don't know where I want them to end exactly. They're just kind of slithering over each other. Just little. Continuing to offset just like we talked about, rinse and repeat until your drawing's done. And then maybe underneath them will be mostly, maybe, no, really, maybe I won't have any ground underneath and I'll just worms for breakfast. Another worm. We just demoed cobblestone. Now we're doing worms. We're trying to keep a good variety. Eat lots. I hope they're okay. You do some streaming today, Eat lots? Offset the worms. Oh, nice. Yeah, draw more worms. That's the thing. I need to start just filling this up with. Actually, thinking this is pretty good. Pretty wormy. There might be some extra spaces. This one. Yeah, when you offset it, you can. I don't know where. Okay, so that's feeling pretty good. I think I'm gonna start adding some light. So I think my light source will be something like that. These are all just kind of big cylinders.
Streaming July 3rd on Disney Plus.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hamilton.
$10 founding father without a father. Experience the journey. By working a lot harder. The dream. Being a lot smarter. The triumph. Self-starter. The Tony, Grammy, and Pulitzer Prize winning phenomenon is here. Hamilton, rated PG-13, may be inappropriate for children under 13. Streaming July 3rd, exclusively on Disney Plus.
Look at you, listening to Spotify while you do whatever it is you're doing. That's exactly why it makes sense to promote your business here. Yeah, your business. Whether you have 2 employees or 2,000, your voice can reach as broad or as narrow of an audience as you need. And connect with them where visual media can't. Try it today at adstudio.spotify.com or tap the banner to learn more.
I like with the cobblestone. I think it's going to be kind of. Then at the end, we'll start doing like the high. Maybe little. You never know, like in a video game, when you need like worm tech. Be good. Feel pretty good about these worms. Looking pretty wormish. Offset. Going to be a little bit. We still got about 15 minutes. Constantly offsetting the image, so big fan. I think I'm gonna use the all in all, looking pretty wormy. Burn. We're gonna burn some colors and just stay. Kind of a tool that can. So I'm going to add some highlight. Try and clean some of these. Light touch up. I think I'm going to darken. Now I feel like worms. About 15 minutes. ask me to pull into 3D. This won't even open. Offset.
TaxAct makes DIY tax filing easy. I know nothing about taxes, but with TaxAct, it's so simple I can do it myself and from the comfort of my own home. What's more, TaxAct even helps you get your maximum refund backed by their $100,000 accuracy guarantee. The deadline to file is July 15th, but with TaxAct,
There's a lot I could do to this still. Like,
visit taxact.com now to get started for free. Restrictions apply.
needs a lot of love.
Guarantee. See taxact.com for details
In the
and
lighting
disclosures.
department.
Summer is open, and Lowe's is home for the 4th of July. This year, make your backyard the best place to be for the 4th, starting with the grill. Get the Charbroil 5-burner gas grill now, just $1.99. Then, fire up the eats and enjoy every bite outside with select patio furniture and outdoor decor, up to 15% off. Whatever you dream up for this 4th at home, visit Lowe's to make it the best it can be. Valid through 7/8 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
All right, now I'm gonna add some colors. The worms have like orange and purple and green and everything. So let's add. I'm just going to, I'm just gonna actually use same brush, very low opacity, and just start with some color. So, but I'm gonna pick kind of color mode. Same. If I use the brush at a low opacity and just kind of up, then it. Same thing, I avoid the purple and red. The sides of the worms make the you want to have some. This is interesting. I actually don't know how this is going to look. Purple. I'm gonna skip it. Gonna jump around. Purple's always nice. Some seem to have. I think I'm actually. I don't know if the alien worms, maybe. Let's do a little green here. Maybe some green on some of that. All right, those, my friends, are worms. Worm it up. Okay. It's like 2 more minutes, and then we will save these to Canvas and Discord. Oh, I saved it as cobblestone. I saved it over my cobblestone. I'll save it as a... I got chewed out by one of my former students for saving a worm texture Tuesday. Okay. Okay, I have no idea how this is gonna look like. I feel like doing a... Leave the brightness. Okay, class, I will be back in 5 minutes. I'm going to take a little and then come back and we'll look at your tileable textures, and then we will take a look at your projects for the next class, and then we will open up the class for lab time so that you can work on those, and I will be around to answer your questions. I know some of you had questions about Mixamo and some other issues with your character models. Oh, that looks awful. And we're back. It looks like everybody's uploaded their images. Two of you have. Okay. I'm going to download two that have. 10. These are great. I would say definitely a success.
Hasn't Purdue Jabber Contact Center Slubera?
Nebu Bernsey Communication Bam Bam.
Orangey Garza API.
For unified communications, contact centers, and communications APIs without the gibberish, use Vonage. Now we're talking.
As we move forward, let's continue to practice these healthy habits. Brought to you by Lysol. Wash your hands often. Monitor your health. Use the inside of your elbow to cough and sneeze. Wear a cloth face cover when around others. Keep 6 feet between yourself and others. Clean and disinfect frequently touched surfaces daily. The best way forward is together. Lysol.
I'm gonna slide. I'm gonna change my.
Find more healthy habits at Lysol.com.
You love listening to your favorite artists, and we love listening to you.
So let's take a look at everyone's images.
In our short survey, and you could win a month of gloriously uninterrupted music with Spotify.
I think what we'll do here is, oops.
That means you can enjoy all your favorite artists ad-free.
We'll look at them in 2 different ways.
Then all you need to do is hit the banner now.
Let's see how they look around an object. Cylinder. Oh, look at that. I changed the name. Oh my goodness. So here's the worm. Because I accidentally named it Cobblestone. What do you guys think? Does it look like worms? Let's put it on the cylinder. They're kind of creepy but cool. Okay, so we have them on a cylinder. Now we need to adjust the UVs. You see this is the way the cylinder is unwrapped. So if we just scale it up, that's how around an object. But I think stretched it up. Dove Soap says it looks real. Well, they kind of look real, but when you zoom in on them, you can see all my brush strokes and how I was rapid. So I definitely could spend more than 30 minutes cleaning them up. But from a distance, that's what you see how from a distance, they look okay. Okay, so let's check out some other students, some other ones. Okay, so we looks like, okay, we have some other ones. Save these. You guys are pros. These are great. You can go back when you're famous game artists and say, these were my first tileable textures. So the important thing is, do they tile? That's all we need to worry about. Okay, so let's look at the next one. So we can look at these really quick in here they are in the Discord. Horrible, but nice. I love it. So here are the worms. So here you can see what the 2D flat texture looks like, right? This is the next one. Looks like a roof tile. These are like cool cobblestones with screws in them. And we'll look at them like that in just a moment. Nice cobblestones. They've got the start of lighting. The cracks nice and dark. It's got some good contrast to it. I love it. And then this one's really cool. It's like when the river drives up and cracks, right? So now let's see how they look in Maya. Here is the roof tile. Not bad. So there's a little bit of a seam right here, but they overlap. It still overlaps. Look nice. I can see that on a roof, right? Here it is around the cylinder. Pretty cool. Nice work. Nice work. Check out the next one. Very cool. So I can see that in like the floor of a very hand-drawn type of game. Very nice. I think this thing stretched. So that is more like how these should look. See, they tile all the way across, except for right here. That's probably where the seam is. It's okay. All right, next on the list. You can see, you always want to be careful around the edges. You want to make sure that you offset enough to get them painted. Otherwise, you can see the lines come across really well. You can see the seam a little bit. So that's a good that's a good pointer. You always want to be offsetting a lot so you avoid those seams, but otherwise it's pretty cool. Very nice. For your first ever tileable texture, that's awesome. Next is oh, that's awesome. Very good. You can see that being like a castle wall, right? In a game. I think those turned out really nice. A little bit of a seam right there, but something to get used to. Really good job, everybody. All right, class, so here is the game plan. Are you ready? So I'm going to post a Zoom link right now on Discord, so we can all hop in on a Zoom call. And talk about your next projects. That way I can hear your lovely voices and not just me talking to myself. After that, I'll let you work on your buildings, and then I'm going to try and hop back onto Twitch as well for a bit if you have any questions. And I need to pick out my own building to start modeling and texturing along with you guys so that I can help you as much as possible as we go through building our new. Yeah, I'll send that up. So I'm going to end the stream now. Everybody thanks for stopping by, and